Hey, this is Professor Ken, and I'm here at the American Food and Beverage Show. I'm talking to Iran, we've known each other for a couple of years now. Right?
Very much so. I've had the pleasure, yes.
Yes, and he represents AppCard, which is an incredible software that really helps connect the consumer with the regional grocer. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and some of the innovations that you guys had discovered over the last couple of years, which I think is really important. So before we get into that, let's talk about the concept first of why it's important for a regional grocer to be able to personalize to their customer. How has the world changed in the last, not even the last 5 years, but just in the last year? How's the world changed that a regional has to personalize their offerings?
So I think that, first of all, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's great to see the evolution, not only of our technology and our industry, but also of us as personas and where the future takes us. So good luck with this amazing podcast.
Thank
you. So when we talk about independent grocers of all sizes, whether they are a single location or whether they are 200 location as a fairly large regional store, in today's world, if you're not able to communicate with your shoppers and do it with relevant offers, regardless of the generation of the shopper. And even though some may say that the difference between Generation X and Generation Y and Z and whatnot, and horrible name, Generation Z, because nothing comes after,
That's
right?
true.
But
Alpha, I guess.
But when we do talk about that, I do believe that they are all under one umbrella of Generation EX, which is longing for experience and having that ability to have an experience at the store that is suited for them, for what they need. Every household is different. Every household has their own needs. And if we are not able to cater for that, they'll find it somewhere else.
That's exactly right. And you know, the stats that are coming out right now, especially here in 25, you can't complete a basket at one store sometimes, right? Because you're price shopping. So sometimes you're going to maybe 3 stores. So how do you capture them? You want to get as much as that dollar spent in your store,
correct,
before they go somewhere else. And that personalization, knowing you, is important. I always say it's building this relationship, right? If you fall in love with me, it's harder for you to leave me and go somewhere else because you're falling in love with me. How do we build this relationship? And let's talk about that. So what does a retailer have to do today in order to show their customer, hey, I'm here for you and I want you to fall in love with me?
So first and foremost is to listen. So the flip side of that experience of Gen EX is the expectations.
Yeah.
And if you don't meet the expectations, no one will fall in love with you. So with that being said, that's where AppCard comes into play. And usually people say, AppCard is a loyalty company. And you've heard me say it so many times.
So much more.
We don't believe in loyalty. Because loyalty is not something that one is doing. Loyalty is something that you earn.
Yeah.
And if you're not able to know your shoppers, understand their habits, understand their preferences, meet their expectations, then you will not earn it. And the way to do it is to really be able to communicate with your shopper at their preferred touch point, be it email, be it text, be it push, be it the in-lane, be it at the aisle, be it in the e-commerce, however they go, and doing it based on data.
I want to start the conversation from a retail perspective. If I'm an independent retailer, let's talk about why is it important to have personalization? Why is it important to understand and know your customer?
So I think that, and briefly really mentioning, independent grocers are the center of their community.
That's right. That's right.
And even though they live and breathe inside their community, if I will tell you that John haven't been to the store for 3 weeks, you will not know.
That's right. How do you know that you're in there?
The ability to identify the shopper, ability to understand their recency, their frequency, the monetary spend, the ability to be able to communicate with them, that's what's so vital in order to allow you to even think of personalizing that experience.
Yeah. And I think that if you're an independent retailer, and most independent retailers have been around let's say 10 years, 15 years, 20 years.
100 years.
100, you're right, there are 100 years.
Yep.
So this is new, and it could be intimidating. And maybe it's not something that I feel like we want to do. Maybe I feel like I say to you, well, my customer is 50 years old or 60 years old, and they're not interested in doing anything electronically, which I personally know is not true.
Yep.
But how do you answer that type of question?
So there's multiple buckets of answering that.
Yeah.
The first one is that unfortunately, the independent grocers today do not have a choice.
Yeah.
With the likes of Instacart and Amazon and online shopping, and the convenience, and what COVID have taught us all is that if you are not in a position to communicate with your shopper, if you're not in a communicate to be personalized, if you're not in a communicate to be answering the needs either for quality or availability or price, they will find it somewhere else.
Yes.
And if they will find it somewhere else, and they will stop buying with you.
And I think that's the key, because look, I've done this a bit too. So I know, and the data shows us now, that in order to build that lifetime value for a customer from an online perspective, you have to have them buy three times minimum, but it's really closer to 6. So if they're not making 4, 5, or 6 purchases, you're not going to get that customer lifetime value. And what I also say is, we need to use this as a tool that, we want them to come in our store, but that journey starts from your device in most cases.
So, and that leads me to the second bucket.
Yeah.
So the second bucket is the ability to meet the shopper at their preferred touch point.
Nice. Yeah.
And while e-commerce as a whole is important and it grows and it's a convenient matter, it is still in the independent side of the house, 4% at most.
Right. Single digits.
So we need to look at that in that prism and perspective. And we still need to cater to the 96% of our shoppers that may not be shopping online. And for that, we need to make it easy, simple, and fun to engage, to be able to identify every time they're at the store, for them to be rewarded for their business and their loyalty. And as a result of that, to be in a position where we create a journey from the NTR in the lane or in the aisle or through the text or the digital receipt, but have that continuous communication that when they are ready to make their next purchase, they will do it with us. When they run out of, and that leads us to AI and personalization and whatnot, when they are ready to buy something, we would be proactively reaching out, because we know the cadence of how frequently do I buy a toilet paper or Bounty or you name it, and send them the offer so they're ready to make the next trade.
And that's where I always tie this into that relationship, right? And I often tell everyone, it's building that relationship, and it starts with that first purchase. So if you're in a relationship, I want you to fall in love with me, but I need to, I'm happily married 20 years. I have to know what my wife likes and what she doesn't like. I have to be there and respond.
Yep.
And in this case, as a retailer, we have to do the same thing. We have to say, hey, Ken, you need, you bought milk, bread, and eggs this week, but do you have the meat you need for the barbecue, right? Or so that's really important. What do you think let's call it the hurdle for a retailer to jump into this with both feet? I mean, they make investments in all kinds of different things. Why would a retailer, what are you seeing that's stopping a retailer from making an investment, from doing this type of return and investment?
So we've seen different evolutions, I would say, of grocers. And particularly independent grocers.
Yeah.
You have independent grocers who are very gung-ho on adopting technology.
They should.
And they understand the importance of it, and they will do it without thinking twice.
Right.
We have those that have tried in the past and it wasn't successful, and they say, well, I've tried it, I don't know, maybe, if, and so on and so forth. And then we need to explain and guide them And luckily, serving about 3,000 independent grocers,
Right.
we have a lot of our grocers that they can speak with.
Right.
And in particularly in this industry where share groups are concerned and they are all part of a wholesaler
And you learn from it.
and you learn from it. And
Yeah.
we are there to help and support. And the third is really, okay, so I bought it. I installed it.
Right.
I set it up. What next?
Right.
And oftentimes, in particularly when you work with an independent grocer of all sizes, by the way,
Right.
it's not enough to provide them with just a product.
Right.
You need to be in a position to prove that this is a true partnership, and we are there to help them every step of the way. And we are here to guide them
Right.
and benefit from our experience of 3,000 stores of what's working and what's not, and when and why and how.
Right.
And when they understand that we are here really with the premise of helping every independent at a time, then that decision is way easier.
And for me, it's so valuable when spending some time with an independent. By the way, I'm a champion of the product, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. I just think why would you not need this or want this? For me, it's like turning the key of the door, right? If you're going to clean the counters, if you're going to sweep the floors, if you're going to make sure your refrigerators are working, you need to have something to start that engagement, because every customer touch point is valuable.
Correct.
And you have to bring them in. You have to bring them into the store. And even if you do an online type of thing, we know that the BOPIS concept is very valuable. So yeah, you might fill your cart online on your phone, but you're still going to come into the store. I want you to come into the store to pick up your order. And that's another engagement point. And I'm going to lift my basket up 15 or 20% because now you're coming into the store.
Yep.
And that's really key. So one thing that I learned recently is that you guys launched the app. You have an app that you can make an app, which is phenomenal.
Yep.
And the app, I've seen the app, the functionality of the app, it makes it so much easier. So let's talk about the use of an app, and let's specifically talk about the AppCard app and how retailers could apply that into what they're doing.
So for years we had an app. We had the AppCard one, but not necessarily branded to the stores.
Yeah.
And we realized that branding is a very important thing for our members, and they want to highlight their own, which is great. But when doing that, we've said, okay, so let's look holistically on how can we help them really deliver a very simple, easy, but then again, comprehensive experience.
Right.
And what do I mean by that? In today's world, we talked about it, you have your e-commerce.
Right.
And you have your social media.
Yeah.
And you have your digital circular.
Yeah.
And you have this, and you have that, and you have your catering, and you name it.
Right.
And there are so many different touch points with a shopper that holistically creates that experience. So we've said, if we are to create an app for our grocers, we need to do one that will be really comprehensive and ensure that the shopper does not need to know or does not need excuses that you work with 8 different vendors.
Right. So it's all self-contained.
So it's all there.
Yeah.
So whether it is the e-commerce providers and whether it is the digital circular and you name it, all the social, now with the AppCard technology, we were able to bring it all under one, and it's a seamless single sign-on. It's a seamless handoff in between one, and it all remains within the app. So that container app solves for so many. That being said, I want to also put that in a perspective where the NTR, and we just ran statistics about it. We ran a study internally of all of our stores in terms of touch points, coupon clip, engagement, and so on and so forth. And what we've seen is that the in-lane terminal, the NTR,
Right.
has 4.21x more touches than any other touch point.
That's amazing.
And more importantly, 18.8x more conversion of coupon to clip redemption. which is mind blowing,
and-
but not a surprise.
Right. Well, it's real. It's because it's a sexy device, very engagement, and that's what you want. If you don't have that engagement, then you're done. And I'm always thinking about if I'm an independent, if I'm a retailer, and we know, Amazon and Walmart are doing a bang up job out there with all their stuff online, right? You go in, you see BMWs, Mercedes in the pickup windows. Everybody's right. Okay. So that's good. So if I'm an independent, I don't have that same budget, right? So for a low investment, I can get this and I can get that touch point and I can engage with that customer. And what I love about the NTR is that the register, you'll see my name and I can engage with that customer. So I'm personalizing right away. I'm like, hey, Ken, good to see you today. Thank you for coming back. I see you haven't been here in a week. That's really valuable.
Very much so. So from our perspective, the personalization doesn't go only on the fleshy email and text and using AI, which we have a lot, as you know, with our Pinky.
Yeah.
And that, which does lookalikes and whatnot. But it starts from a personal touch.
Yes.
It starts from the ability to really communicate with you in a way that makes you smile.
Right.
And the way we've done it, for example, on the cashier side, once the shopper keyed in, and all it takes to enroll, as you know, it's a phone number.
Simple.
So
right.
So whether you are an elder savvy shopper or an unbanked shopper or one that is of an international flavor or Hispanic, we support Spanish.
Yeah, I saw the bilingual capability too as well.
The essence is that the cashier will be able to see your name on the cashier side.
That's right.
And then not only that, they will also be able to see whether you are a top shopper or a lost shopper or a new shopper. So now it would be, instead of sir, is that all for today? It would be, hey, Ken, great to see you again. Thank you for being a top shopper, or haven't seen you.
Right. Where have you been this week? Right. Exactly.
So those small touch points makes a huge difference, especially when you are the center of your community and you are able to keep that one-to-one reach.
And I think that the concept there is I don't know if the +1 rule, right? If you could +1, +1, +1, all of a sudden now that adds up to +10. That ends up to +100. Right. And before you know it, if you're taking 300-400 people in each lane, and you have 10 lanes every store, and you're touching 3,000 people that way, all you need to do is just get 10 of them to spend another $10.
Yep.
And before you know it, now you're incrementally growing your basket and you're engaging. And guess what? Because you're friendly to me, I'll come back to you. And I say, oh, that's great. I'm not standing online and I'm not driving into a port to get my groceries dumped in, and I'm getting personalized service.
And I think that it's also important to indicate, and I'll give you a great example. We just looked this morning about a great grocer of ours who've joined us a month ago.
Yeah.
They were on a mobile app only solution prior. They migrated 21,000 shoppers into the AppCard platform. Within a month, we've added 14,000 shoppers to the program.
That's amazing. That's
so
they nearly doubled the connectivity.
And that's the difference.
That's right.
That's the difference. And now it's all about making the data action.
And one thing too that I think is important, that now, of course, everyone knows the buzzes of retail media and all that, but that list, and during COVID, you brought it up. During COVID, you didn't have an email list. You were basically done because you had no way of communicating with your customer. But that personalized data now can be used and sliced and diced in so many different ways.
Yep.
Yeah, internally, you need to keep it secure and protect it. But that's valuable information, not only for you, but even for your partners. And now you can really put together a program to drive business, and I think about the holiday season. If someone comes in and buys a holiday turkey meal from you, well, you have to treat them a little different than someone who's coming in buying milk, bread, and eggs.
Yep.
But now, guess what? That $150 holiday meal, you're selling that probably for Christmas. You're selling that maybe for New Year's, maybe for Mother's Day, maybe for Father's Day. So now you can engage them because you know exactly what they're buying, and that's important.
And it's phenomenal that you've mentioned those particular holidays, because understanding the household from the data will also allow you to tailor the right offer to them. which means that if I know you are a household of 4, it's a different basket than a household of 2.
That's exactly.
Which is a different household if I know that all you buy is diapers and beer.
That's right.
So that ability to make that data actionable and look at what other shoppers with similar household are buying and recommend and entice that behavior, that's where the fun begins.
And information has always been key, right? Information is king, always been, from the beginning of time to now. As a marketer, as a retailer, you need that. So that's really valuable. So tell us about AppCard. Tell us about some of the innovations you've made over the last 6 months, 12 months. I know we mentioned the app already. And let's explain how does the AppCard system fit into an independent retailer seamlessly to give them seamless commerce?
So the last 6 months were busy as hell, which is what makes me drive 14 years in and do what we do with so much passion. And it also the emphasis of why we focus on the independent, because we want to help the independent compete. So just to put things in perspective, we have enhanced our interface with all of the point of sales to allow to support 8112 coupons, to allow to have better information from an inventory standpoint, to simplify onboarding with no credit map, to and the list goes on and on and on. Then we've introduced the branded app, as you've mentioned. Then we introduced the Spanish language on the NTR. Then we have a new coupon tool that we've put together to allow both the wholesalers as well as the stores to create and added significantly more type of coupons that now are being able to be done. Then we are rolling out our new merchant site. We've rolled out last week, and this is a scoop. We've rolled out beer, wine, and spirit coupons.
Oh, that's great.
So this last 6 months is sometimes a lifetime of other companies, if at all.
Right.
And our roadmap is still extremely active and
that's great to hear.
And excited. We rolled out Caper integration with Instacart and Storefront Pro and others. So it's all a consistent effort to help the independent, and all we do is independent.
Yes.
So our mission is truly to help, and you said it yourself, help the independent compete by bringing the enterprise capabilities in an affordable way.
And that I think is the best part of that, is because you have to make, it's an investment. It's not a lot. I mean, I'm not going to put a number on it, but it's an investment you're going to get a return on investment. You talk about an 18x or 4x. These are things that you cannot get by making a capital investment in other things. Yeah, you need to have a beautiful looking store. You need to have, working refrigerators and all that, but this is an important tool as well. So let me get your opinion on AI and the future. 5 years from now, how are we going to be shopping, and where does AI fit into all this?
5 years from now, how will we be shopping? First of all, grocery store is not going anywhere.
No, I agree with you there.
And I think that we need to be very clear about that. Will it be different in terms of how we engage within the store? Very likely.
Yeah.
Will we have more of, as we've done in integration with the shelf tags and the ability to flash and lights?
I think that's so crazy. Yeah.
We will, for sure. Will there be more subscription based? So it is auto replenish coming from the store? For sure. Will there be a use of AI across the board? If not, we are doomed to fail.
Yeah.
Because AI will go into our refrigeration,
yes.
and AI will go into our ordering, and AI will go into the way we query data from a reporting, and AI will go into, and we already do a lot of it, and we have much more in terms of monitoring our systems.
Yes.
and into loss prevention.
Yes.
So AI will touch and influence the store in every facet in any way.
Right.
And we should embrace it. We shouldn't be afraid of it.
And it's a tool that we have to use, and it's a tool to make us better, right?
Yep.
You know, who knows if Skynet's coming and robots are going to take over the world? You know, I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow. But I tell you, if I'm out there, I'm using this as a tool to make me better.
So here's the funny thing about AI and grocery.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a personal story. And my dear wife, I hope she will not be angry. One of the biggest challenges to buy is a watermelon.
Yes.
If you buy a whole watermelon, you do not know how to really what you will find inside.
Yes.
Now, for years, the only way for us to do was to tap on it and to listen to it and think that we know what we're going to buy. So if anyone goes now to ChatGPT or like, and you would say how to select a watermelon, you will have a very detailed description. So we went into, for the sake of it and the fun of it, we went into ChatGPT and we've looked into and got the instruction and bought something, and it was completely white and horrible inside. So there are things in the grocery industry that will be very much AI based, and there are things that will never be AI.
Yes.
And buying a watermelon or buying meat.
Well, meat
would still need the human touch.
Well, being yes, exactly. I'm being e-commerce for quite a bit. You know, meat and produce have always been difficult to do. Sometimes it's hard to get our pickers to get the right watermelon and meat. By the way, watermelon.org is here at this show, and they actually are telling people how to pick a good watermelon.
So I didn't even know.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me. It's so great to talk about you and the innovations, and I really appreciate all the insights that you provided. I consider you an industry leader.
For sure.
And I appreciate your friendship, and thank you for spending some time with us.
Of course.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, everyone. I'll see you out there.